then you had the council of, what's it called, Chalcedon of 451, where they
Hmm.
put together the edict of what the Bible was going to be good for. You know what I mean? Um,
Right. So this
here,
is when they was.
yeah, let me. Can I read that? Just a little paragraph sentence.
Yep.
It says this council of the Roman Catholic Church, this wise and saving creed, the gift of divine grace, was sufficient for a perfect understanding and establishment of religion. So, for its teaching about the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit is complete, and it sets out the Lord's becoming human to those who faithfully accept it. So, agenda. They created religion. They created the characterization and the deity of God as a part of what they were doing, and it's in their writings.
Yeah. So it's never been a secret. I was going over the bloody oath of the papacy to murder the kings, princes, and people of the land. With young elder, because they put this stuff in the public domain, but most of us don't know we really seriously is in a spiritual war. In spiritual warfare, you have to fight it spiritually, and the effects is going to trickle down to the physical. If you try to fight it physical first, that's like putting the cart in front of the horse,
Right.
right? You going out the world ass backwards, as my father used to say, right? So, when you put everything in its proper place, don't give it a judgment, and then step back and look at the big picture, right? So they wrote all of the dirt down that they was gonna do before they done it. That's to absolve them from karmic debt before they do the act. Because now, if you agree to follow through with what they said they were going to do, that was your free will being exercised. They just influenced it. That's why they say the devil don't never tell you what to do. He just suggests it to you. It's
Yeah.
just a strong suggestion by a power base that appears to be legitimate. And the appearance of legitimacy is predicated on the paperwork. Because if you don't have the degrees, you should not have the knowledge, right? Which takes me to the next phase of my incarceration, where I thought I was doing all this studying in vain. So here we are, 5, 6 years later, from hearing this lady in the day room in Cook County telling me to get a PhD. And I'm getting headaches from reading so many books so fast, right? And the headaches is to the point where they're annoying to me that I don't want to read no more, right? I don't know nothing about the nutritional burning that the brain is doing. But we go to a Black History celebration, and sister brings in a African dance corps. She was out of Detroit, and she don't know what this lady said when I was in that day room. And she sat there and she said, "Some of y'all gonna get tired. Y'all gonna think y'all doing everything for nothing. Y'all gonna feel like it's a waste of time, and that you doing a whole lot of research and studying in vain because it's not getting you nowhere." She say, "But don't let that deter you. Get your PhD anyway."
So here it was like a divine relay system. One passed the baton to the next to come, and when you needed a recharge, when you were about to, your battery was running down, when your faith in what you were doing was running down, then the Most High, Big Mama, sent in reinforcement to
Right.
reinforce what you've been
So when
told.
I used to get
Let me see. See y'all, they messing with us. Let me see. Let me see if he comes back in, y'all. Okay, let me get him back. Are you there? Can you hear? Say something.
Can you hear me now?
Now I hear you. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So can you repeat
So
that
I was
last statement?
saying, yeah, I was saying after the lady said that the second time, I went and talked to my mother on a visit. She had came up that following weekend. And I said, Mama, the strangest thing happened to me. And I told her the story of the first lady. And I said, then last week this lady came in here, or earlier this week the lady came in and said, and I told her the story of the second lady. And my mama said, that's the Lord talking to you, baby. You need to listen. She said, but you're going to hear it from somewhere else. Just pay attention. So I'm on the yard and I'm talking to a brother who was a recovering addict and alcoholic. And didn't nobody used to sit and talk with him because he was a recovering addict and an alcoholic. Can you hear me, Dr. G?
Yes.
Okay. Because you froze on my end. That's why I had to ask you.
Oh, okay.
So we was sitting there talking. And he said, man, I be trying to tell these young guys around here, man, all this time they got on their hands, they want to play basketball, they want to chase boys, they want to get high in the joint. And they need to be in there getting some knowledge with these free books they got. And they got law books, they got history books, whatever you want to learn. Then they got an interlibrary loan where you can get any book you need to get. I don't know why they don't just go and get their PhD and stop playing.
Three, the third time.
Yeah, so that's called three master knots, right? The third one came in off of a male father line, who was consumed by vices, right? So it's a vice lord knot. So it's a big mama on the father line giving me a confirmation that the big mama message that came off the mother line that was confirmed by my mother was accurate. I didn't know that when it happened. I put that together years later.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm always reflecting on my life and how to be a better person, I keep going over these lessons that I'm learning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of the strangest stuff that happened to me is I would go check a book out in the library, and the book would be so old it don't have an ISBN number, just the title and the author. And I write the title and the author down, read the book, take the book back, go back because I might have wanted to review something else a month later, and the book not there. So then I go ask the librarian, and he said, "We never had that book, and here's not in our records." That used to, and it happened more than several times where I read a book that didn't exist. So then I started asking myself, where in the hell is these books coming from? That they don't exist no more, right? But now in modern hindsight 2020. When the knowledge was consumed, it caused the Mandela effect, which switched the timeline. And on the other timeline, the same book doesn't exist. It can't be produced on a different timeline. So every
Wow.
time this is happening, I'm experiencing a subtle Mandela effect, never knowing what I experienced because we didn't have a name for it. It wasn't called the Mandela effect at that time.
True.
We were still studying the butterfly effect.
Yeah. Flap
In
the
the
butterfly
butterfly
flaps
effect,
his wings here and then makes it something happen on the other side of the world because of the flutter of the wing. Yeah.
yep. So he fluttered his wings in Los Angeles as the energy moves back east around the world. By the time it gets to Japan, it's a full-fledged typhoon. Chain reaction, microcosm, macrocosm effect, right? So in the microcosm, macrocosm, as above, so below, as within, so without. If you want to use universal law to affect change in the world, you apply them to the self as the microcosm, and the reaction takes place in the macrocosm of the external world. It just takes time, the bigger the event is, to manifest into the visual spectrum of the others in the 3D realm. Once you learn this, then you understand how doing real-time numerology gematria and what we call it number flipping is actually, when you saying it out your mouth, triggering events to take place in the physical world based on what you've seen in real time and what you know from historical record and how you are looking at the problem in order to solve it. So when my mama used to always tell me, don't never let nobody take none of your brothers and sisters stuff, I wasn't even the oldest child. Why would she keep telling me that? She supposed to be telling my oldest brother and my oldest sister, don't let nobody take your brother and sister stuff. She not supposed to be telling that to number 7. I got 6 people that got to go through.
Yeah.
Right? But I was born on the 10th. That's why I come in on 10. Because my siblings exhausted 1 through 9 already. So why am I going to wait and come? No, I got to come in on 10. So I came in 11-10. That's 11, 2 pillars, 10 toes down on the upright. Sacred seal and 68. Right? On an 11, on a 10-15 birth, which is a 7. To the 7th child, it's a knockback. On a perfect alignment of the stars to bring in an old soul that can solve the problems. Anybody can put my birth date in 11-10-68 and put in the time as 10-15 and look at the alignment of the stars and know
AM or
that
PM?
AM in the morning. But when they look at the stellar alignment, they're gonna know that that's not a normal reading for, because all of the astrologers that was teaching me astrology, how to read the ephemeris, how to look at a star map, how to triangulate the ground from the stars. I'm learning this from astrologers and astronomers that's been doing it for years. And they keep telling me the same thing. Your alignment.
You froze up again. Let me see.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, well, now I hear you. You get froze for a moment, and so you said they keep
I heard
telling you about
saying it, so I know where I stopped at. But these people keep telling me that my alignment is not normal. Right? The only thing that's missing from the calculation is the coordinates to Cook County Hospital by longitude and latitude. And then when I'm the only male child living from that batch of sons that was born. And then what my mama went through giving me birth, they tried to murder my mama in the hospital by giving her the wrong blood that was infected with hepatitis. Right? So when my mother finally passed, it was from it was post transplant, post liver transplant. Right? And because now I can remember almost everything that went on when I was born in the delivery room. I can remember the conversations that the doctors was having on the other side of the room, but I can't tell that to regular people because it totally sounds fucking insane.
Well, we not regular people, so you can tell. You can tell us.
but most people don't remember being born, so they believe nobody can remember. I remember swimming and doing flips in my mama's stomach.
Wait a minute. For some reason you're breaking up. I think
before 2 or 3 years old.
Listen, I don't know if it's my side or your side, but the sound is breaking up. I think you said you remember swimming and then in your mind.
Yeah, I remember swimming in my mama's womb doing flips off her stomach.
What?
I remember like being in utero in amniotic fluid doing backflips using my mother's inner uterus as a springboard.
I believe.
I remember hearing my mama telling my daddy, "This is gonna be a little badass boy here. He monkey flipping all up and down in my stomach." I can't tell nobody that. That's insanity to the regular people.
Well, for a lot of people, Brother Rod, though I used to say this even when I was still preaching, that there's a scripture that talks about, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you, and I ordained you a prophet to the nations. And I think it was Jeremiah. And I always told that was just a prototype for everybody who was, before they were formed, they were known and they had an assignment that they were supposed to fill. I said, but once you make that decision and say, look, okay, I'm ready, I'm gonna go down, that man, that woman come together, that spark, then I'm gonna inhabit that body that's formed from that. Then I said, you float around for maybe 9 months, because I've had preemies, but 9 months in the amniotic fluid, which I would call amnesia juice. I said, and while you in the amnesia juice, you forget what your assignment is, and so your so-called life.
That's how I discovered how to erase our memory.
Right. So your life is one of trying to remember. He said, when you come into your kingdom, remember me, reconnect me to my purpose, to myself. And was it you who said that the lights they throw in your face are like the white that the men in black do?
Right. Now, this is right. And the Sybil priestesses would sync with the queen mother of the earth. And they would come from each tribe. Right. So all of the tribes send one to go learn to be a Sybil priestess from the great priestess herself, the high priestess, the highest of priestesses, the great mother, queen of heaven and earth. Right. So them being in sync with her, they become her ambassadors to the world. Because wherever they at, she there. That's why I say in the Bible, wherever you at, the Lord is there also.
Yeah. So what about when was the fall of matriarchy? You know what I mean? What was the fall of matriarchy?
Alexander usurped Helen by gaining the Destiny Scroll, surrendering it to his father's line in order for them to rise up in Rome as a patriarchal empire that had homosexual philosophy as the base philosophy.
Yeah.
Roman philosophy is the greatest love is between a man and a boy.
Yeah.
That's not correct.
Yeah.
That's exactly opposite of the earth doctrine. The earth doctrine is the greatest love between a man and a woman in which they produces a child. Right? What we call the Great Trinity. Every time a child is born, that's another Trinity. That's another three. Right? So the child is a sum total parts of the mother and the father in character and in deed. Right? So the Sibyls, wherever they went, it was like the Queen of Heaven and Earth was there. She know everything going on wherever they at. She can see through their eyes, they can see through hers.
All connected.
It's a connected hive link.
Now, I see a lot of things as well. You got these people that saying, oh, they putting up things, putting up chemtrails, they're putting up different things to try to block the sun. Now
they were. They were.
Yeah, they were.
They cleaning that shit up now.
I guess my question is still, as much as these so-called men try to combat this ascension, or this reawakening, so to speak, is there an opposition towards these people?
Yep. Toward the ones trying to wake everybody up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's automatically going to be an obstacle, resistance. It's going to be resistance to the ones asleep, not wanting to wake up. Then it's going to be resistance from the ones who don't want us waking nobody up. Then it's going to be resistance from the ones who swore to fight against us until the end of time. Right? And they're going to fight to the last man standing.
And I get that's my question. Who's fighting against them? You know what I'm saying? What is it, the opposition that's fighting against them? I guess in our behalf, or is it just the fact that we got to wake up and start to fight them? You know what I'm saying? Or do we have that extra help?
We got all the help we need.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is us becoming consciously aware
Mm-hmm.
of a power shift taking place without the government telling you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because the energy is in the air and all of the signs are available.
Mm-hmm.
But the people are still in slumber.
Mm-hmm.
And still not understanding what they're seeing in front of their face.
Yeah.
And the false narrative is still captivating the audience, keeping them misled.
Yeah. They're still in the matrix. They still, in front of the boob tube. You know what I'm saying? And they're still, most of it's
Plugged
still,
in.
yeah, plugged in. Yeah, yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah, because it's like even now, like we said earlier, it seems like there are some major shifts, man. Because I never, I mean, there was cats that I really can't even say on this bigger level, individuals that have this big bullhorn that is speaking out like they are right now. Not, I guess maybe in the entertainment, maybe it was more on the political side, but these entertainers and sports athletes that are doing this now, I mean, you can't help but get people's attention on this level. This is for me, this is like something new on this level. You
Yeah.
feel me? I've
Yeah.
never seen this like this.
48 laws of power say create a compelling spectacle.
Uh-huh.
Right? Hegelian dialectics say start the shit, watch the reaction, and then come with a solution.
Mm.
Right? So all of these things converging together.
Yeah.
The ancient code of kings.
Mm-hmm.
It say when the conspiracy against the king has been discovered, he dragged the conspirators out in the open before he executes them and publicly read their crimes before the public and lay the conspiracy bare, so that the public will demand the blood of the traitor.
Yeah.
And then the king so graciously delivers the traitor's head on a silver platter. But we don't remember the ancient code of kings.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let me see. They had another question here. Let me see if I Oh, here we go. It says, what is the name of the gatekeepers of the Dendora?
I don't know.
Yeah, gatekeepers in the. I remember names. I remember reading a book that Baba put out talking about the gatekeepers, but I remember even seeing no names on them. But I mean, just the fact that there are gatekeepers, huh? Let's move on to the next one. Oh, this is more of a comment.
Yeah.
Yep, moving in frequency of a tribe. Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, that's what you're just saying as far as even dealing with the Sybil, just connecting, together. But yeah, man, that's. Hold on one second. Oh, never mind. That ain't a good one. But yeah, bro. Let me go back here. If y'all haven't already, please, the brother's Cash App is up here. You know what I'm saying? Please support the good brother. He's doing this, for our behalf to try to wake us up, man. So it's $ SIKAPE. That's his Cash App. Hold on one second. I'm freezing here. Hold on one second. I got another question.
Oh, that's psychic self-defense here.
Mm-hmm.
When you learn how to harness your energy, your own energy, and to control your energy, you can easily disorient a person with just a look. Right? Because you can thrust your energy through your eyes the same as you can thrust your fist to their jaw.
All right. Can a person reincarnate as their own daughter after dying a few months after giving birth to that child?
It won't be. It will. It's possible. It's possible because every now and then the person can't find a person they're willing to come back through, and they'll say fuck it, and then they'll self reincarnate. Right. The child takes up to 9 months in order for their soul to calibrate to a frequency, to lock them into a character of who they are. And they drawing that energy through the DNA from the family line anyway. So if the mother is not present in physical form, It's just a matter of calibrating that energy from the other side to get into this side.
Hmm. All right. Do you believe that the year 2050 is the end of a 400-year enslaved period of mental and physical slavery?
They already that's already over.
Mm-hmm.
It was a House resolution commemorating the 400 years back in I think 2018, 2017,
Mm-hmm.
right, where they acknowledged the 400 years. That's actually a closing of a contract that's known as the biblical contract of the Pope.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It is a question on what we were talking about earlier about we were talking about Egypt and America and the Nile and etc. Because I remember somebody, I can't remember who it was, they were saying that like Egypt was Hollywood. You know that they made it look all
That was me,
oh Egypt
because
was
that's what it
Hollywood.
was.
Yeah.
It was just to reenact the holy drama,
Uh-huh.
right? The holy
Mm-hmm.
drama is to keep the memory of the great debauchery in the domain of the public,
Mm-hmm.
so that when we come back and remember who we are, we'll know what the
Mm-hmm.
judgment was and how to render the judgment to the public so that you can resolve the matter at the close of the age.
Mm. All right. Another one. Where do ancestors go when they transition? What realm does the Northern Lights have anything to do with our transition?
Oreo Borealis is the northern lights, and that's a reflection off of the inner earth onto the atmosphere. Um, the realm, the fifth dimensional realm, is the realm that we go to between incarnations. The fourth dimensional realm is what we call the dream realm.
Mm-hmm.
But because the fourth and third was collapsed on each other, that's why you have to split your day between the two dimensions.
Mm.
But when you leave your physical form, you recoil back to the fifth dimension unless you done doing your work here. Then you go all the way back up to the 19th.
And I all the way to the top. All right. How much are we a fusion of our parents and a completely different soul in this body?
We go always, because the DNA it seems infinite, but it has a limited number of frequencies for a soul to incarnate into a physical form.
Mm-hmm.
It's only like 4 points on the entire genome that line up to allow certain energy frequencies to come back in.
Mm-hmm.
These frequencies is coming from the union of the two lines, mother line, father line. When they cross, the individual then lets out a frequency and then becomes a composite of both sides of the family.
Mm.
And the fusion is not always the same. Sometimes it's 20% mama, 80% daddy. Sometimes it's 80% mama, 20% daddy. That's when they look at a child and say, you your mama
Yeah,
child,
yeah.
so you chose your daddy child. They can
Mm-hmm.
look at you and tell, right? That's because you have a controlling percentage of one or the other.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Do you think children of light will incarnate simultaneously when the time is right? Light code activation of the melanated being. So the children of light is the rainbow children, the indigos. They've been coming in for the better half of 45 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And they are awakened at different levels because we don't all wake up at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But they all got gifts to offer humanity for the upgrade of humanity.
All these. Go ahead.
You see where it said the light code activation?
Mm-hmm.
That's the solar rays coming in. So you remember the tattoo Rasheed Wallace got on his shoulder of
Mm-hmm.
Akhenaten and the sun rays?
Mm-hmm.
That's what that represents.
Mm-hmm.
Activating of the light code and the melanated being. But the melanin is auto sentient. It's conscious on its own.
Mm-hmm.
And you trying to learn how to communicate with it.
Mm-hmm.
And the prime source or the microphone is at the base of the spine. Think matrix plug in.
Mm. It's all now. This is a question. that I have. I remember some individuals are trying to say that this reality is a simulation. You know what I mean?
It's a
That this,
hologram.
yeah, that it's a simulation. Now, the grand architects, you know what I'm saying? Is the grand architect, like for example, you dealing with a new, that's the Most High, on whatever the case may be. The source, is the source the grand architect? Would that be the grand architect?
So you look at sources, Big Mama.
Okay.
Big Mama delegate responsibilities to the ones who's capable in that particular field.
Gotcha.
She creates you as a sentient creator being for the purposes of manifesting reality before our eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And you got different expressions of reality throughout the boundless universes,
Mm-hmm.
right? A good show to watch to get an idea what I'm talking about is Sliders,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you got light spectrums, you got sound ranges, and the combination where they cross at different locations vibrated a different frequency of reality to produce a different reality than the one you see. So right now we are in a grand dance to create tomorrow while we burning yesterday down. We done with yesterday. Now all we take from it is the memories in order to take the lessons from it to build a better tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow ain't here yet because we ain't built it,
Yeah,
but
built it
we in
yet.
the process.
Mm-hmm. Uncle Rod, I died in my sleep and came back. Saw my angel hovering orange light above my head in 7 Mile in 2004. And I wondered if it was Christ to Hootie's lineage since I was a child.
It's I would need more information,
Yeah. That's,
more background on the
mm-hmm.
on him and his situation.
Grandmaster Hayes, what exactly is in the red iron oxidized dust around the sky, a sun from the sky?
The tail of Nibiru, the red iron oxide is the rust because it's a brown dwarf. It's a collapsed star and it took
Mm-hmm.
on a metallic form. The Anunnaki, along with several other of their allies, hollowed it out and turned the inside into a terraform habitation. It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And the iron oxide blows off the surface of Nibiru as it hurls through space as a dust trail.
Mm. What if this Earth is going through an upgrade? You know what I'm saying? And are there some certain beings that on here that cannot go along with the upgrade? And what about the beings inside the Earth? Even these humans that are building inside the Earth, will they be affected by the upgrade?
Everything with a genome going to be affected. Some things
Mm-hmm.
are not mitochondrial based, won't be able to sink to the earth,
Yeah.
and it'll either leave from being repelled by the earth or it's going to die on earth. But if it don't come from a mitochondrial base that can link to the earth, it will not be allowed to reincarnate back here. So it'll, by default, it'll have to go back to its point of origin.
Mm. Again, back to the Matrix.
Right. So you keep hearing me bring up the mitochondria
Mm-hmm.
because this is a critical link to the earth sinking process.
Mm-hmm.
This is what the whole Enlil war in heaven was about. The inability of the man to control a feminine planet using patriarchy because he can't rule, because he can't have the birthright, because he doesn't have the X chromosome of rulership.
Mm-hmm.
Well, once the war started, the one with the Y chromosome had to also have the X chromosome of the mother blood typing
Mm-hmm.
in order to be the heir.
Mm-hmm.
And that left only one what you call one option available.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's always one son.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's the only one that's available that is on the frequency from the mother line and the father line.
Is there I know that back in time, certain times women were able to impregnate themselves. Will that ever have to happen again? That.
That stopped because they put the moon there to block out the Lilith energy of Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
And the women had to relearn moon magic with their Saturn magic or their Lilith magic. Once they understand how to tune their frequencies of their body, they will be able to spontaneously reproduce, what we call parthenogenesis.
Mm-hmm.
But only certain ones of them would be allowed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So her status would be queen,
Yeah.
like the queen bee, queen termite, queen ant.
Mm-hmm. All right. Question here: can you relate or describe the cosmic slop?
Um, that's kind of difficult to. I'm not sure when she used the term cosmic slop. I'm thinking she's talking the waste product of creation
Mm-hmm.
being stirred up,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not familiar with it as this term.
This is an interesting question. Can we reincarnate in the same timeline after death, like a video game, if you don't beat the level?
Yeah, sometimes you'll go back and live the same exact life over until you make the right choice where you got killed.
Mm.
So you will just be reliving the same timeline. You just monkey flip back to the beginning in your consciousness. So you don't make that move that got your ass murdered.
Yeah.
As soon as you figure it out, you've learned in the self now. But you can definitely reincarnate on the linear timeline.
Mm-hmm. And now, is that as long as you're playing that loop? Is that hell? Is that your own personal hell?
Um, Hell is subjective
Mm-hmm.
because what they tell us is hell comes from a trash dump in Ur of the Chaldees,
Mm-hmm.
which they called it the city of fire, where they dispose of waste product and executed criminals.
Mm-hmm.
Where you get your verse, there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth from throwing it. And they also used to dispose of the synthetic workers using that method.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Oh man. All right, let's see. Let's see if we've got any more questions here. I know you might want to hold on a second. My computer's lagging for some reason. There are times I babble, and when it's happening, it reminds me of the term speaking in tongues, but I feel like I'm speaking ancient language. Can you break this down for me?
You have to learn how to translate it into English.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you learn that, it all makes sense. It's
Mm-hmm.
not going to make sense until you. So if you find yourself doing it, if you can record it and listen to it and ask yourself, what do I feel like I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're in tune with your emotional body, the expression of the feelings that's coming across can help you to translate what's being said.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of time we are literally speaking Atlantean or um, ancient Akkadian or something.
Yeah.
A lot of those ancient languages.
Mm-hmm. All right, brother. I'm not seeing any more questions. You know what I'm saying? And I ran out of my questions, man. So hey, um, hopefully, like I said, hopefully the good sister can, we can get back on there. I really wanted y'all to get on here. I'm like I said, I hope she's okay. I'm gonna reach out to her again to see if all is well. But regardless,
Yeah,
you know
let
what
her
I'm
know
saying?
we missed her, and next
Yeah.
time when she ready, we'll be ready.
Yep. Indeed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, that's it for me. Like I said, you know what I'm saying? If y'all haven't already, please follow, like, and share. Get this information out to the people, you know what I'm saying? Especially dealing with this day and time. We talked about some really important things that we're seeing that are brand new, you know what I'm saying? That are very important happening as far as waking up the masses, you know what I'm saying? So as always, Uncle Rod, man, I appreciate you, my man, and you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? And we're gonna link back. I'm gonna have to get the good sister back on here, but I'll find out what's going on and we're gonna work it out. In the
Okay.
meantime, hey man, when I say that I literally 3 times a week I'll be listening to you know what I'm saying? Because it's very comforting hearing a voice that is talking on this caliber and this with this type of information that's so necessary. So I applaud you, brother, man, for what you're doing and just teaching us. You know what I'm saying? I applaud you 100%, man.
Appreciate it.
Yes, and sir. Again, you know what I'm saying, and I took this from you. You know what I'm saying? All tribes unite. You know what I'm saying?
Reading out of the holy tablets, and various other different scrolls. So I'm gonna jump right into it. So the first question is, one of the sisters wanted you to explain what is mitochondria DNA.
Well, mitochondrial is the fuel source to the DNA cell itself. They're not actually the same thing. We call it mitochondrial DNA, but it's not really DNA. It's its own individual cell within a cell, so to speak. When we study the mitochondrial, the anatomy of the mitochondrial, we find that in there's a part called the matrix. The matrix tied to the portal of life that we call the uterus. All right. In this portal of life, creation of humanity is reduplicated in the womb of the woman. Every time a woman have a child, female have a child, that child went through the entire stages of human evolution in the womb. The mitochondrial is inherited from the motherland. The mother communicates to her child using mitochondria to allow the child to develop instinct on a subconscious level. Now, the female that your mother picked for you is going to be able to communicate using your heart chakra, and then the female will receive from your mother the mitochondrial control of the man. When this happens, then the female has to gradually raise your mitochondrial output so that you can transform to a higher level of male called a divine masculine. Divine masculine is a man whose mitochondrial is turned up to the point where he's like totally creative, use more right brain, abstract reasoning and things.
Right.
Like it's a amino acid crystalline substance, and it doesn't work without the mitochondrial. So when they calling it mitochondrial DNA, they attaching it to the DNA structure itself within the nucleus of the cell. They telling you that it's mitochondrial, but it alters or controls DNA. That's what the mitochondrial do. This is the whole purpose of relationships, developing balance in the relationship that you have with your partner so that you can control the energy. Because if that shit turn up and you haven't done your self-work, it just makes you a worse motherfucker than you already was. Yeah. But if you did the self-work when it turn up, it makes you become something extraordinary for who you've been.
So you're saying with the male, with the female mitochondria, or mitochondria in general, between male and female, the balancement of like doing like shadow work is what balances the relationships?
No, it's the shadow work makes you capable of balancing your own relationships by finding your own personal balance. That's what the shadow work purpose is. Your shadow work is to make sure that you don't carry the 7 deadly sins as part of your general makeup. So you want to forego the 7 deadly sins, and what's the counterpart? 7 holy virtues.
Right.
So you now that you know when you know what they are, then you can exchange the negative for the positive. That's called upgrade. Shadow work is dealing with all of that shit on the inside of you that you will see in other people you don't like, but you don't even realize that you do the same shit.
Oh.
That's why I say, judge not, that ye may not be judged. For by the same measure which you judge, by that measure also shall ye be judged. So whatever you condemn somebody else for, or look down on somebody else for, is going to be your cause of your own personal judgment. Because you judge
Right.
yourself by how you judge others.
Yeah. It's like you measure yourself up to those people,
Mm-hmm.
but
More
not
people,
realizing that you could be very well just as guilty of doing the same things that you don't like in them.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
you don't want to look, you want to look at everybody but yourself. Remember before I told you, I tell motherfuckers that's doing when they doing their self work, if everywhere you go you have a problem with somebody, it's only one common denominator. You're the only motherfucker everywhere you go.
Okay.
So if
Yeah.
everywhere you go you got a problem with somebody, you need to look at yourself.
Hmm.
You're the only common denominator, yourself.
You said that, yeah. That's yeah. My
You're
granny
the
used
only
to say
motherfucker with you everywhere you go.
that. He said you're the only motherfucker with you everywhere you go. So yeah, that's like my granny used to say. If everybody's saying the same thing about your boy, everybody can't be lying.
Yeah. Because I can only tell them what they see in you, what you show. Motherfuckers think they know you, but they've just met you and spent no real quality time with you. That's because they heard you on the lecture. They think they know who you is now. No, you don't know who the fuck I am.
Okay, so here's another one. Can you explain in greater detail how the mitochondria DNA allow women to procreate without a male?
It's not mitochondria alone. First of all, she got to have what you call a 3-point awakening. That's the uterus, the mitochondria, and she has to have raised her sacred secretion. If she haven't done those 3 things all together, she won't be able to spontaneously reproduce herself. What we call parthenogenesis.
Right.
But when she do, she can use her imagination to develop the child. We call it marking a child. When they say, don't say that around while she's pregnant around you, that might mark that baby.
Right.
Yeah. So what you say, what you do, mark the child. That's how you know what child is who. You know, so it's the mitochondria alone is not responsible for parthenogenesis. There's more body parts going on than just that. It's a synchronization of key creative energy fields in the body.
Right. So do you think that based on the science and technology that we have now, that could actually help with those particular elements that goes into parthenogenesis for women, that may be possible again in this day and time?
Look, the parthenogenesis, before you even think about that, you got to control your menstrual cycle. If you can't willfully control your menstrual cycle, you can't reproduce a child. You're not ready to reproduce parthenogenically yet.
And so what does the menstrual cycle have to do with it?
No, it's not the menstrual cycle. It's the control.
That's what I mean. What is the control of, my bad. What is the control of the menstrual cycle have to do with parthenogenesis?
Because then you can pick your, it's about controlling the menstrual cycle is about understanding her body enough to know how to create in her own womb without any outside intervention. You got to learn to control. If when they in tune with their uterus, they can turn that motherfucking shit on and off, but they don't know it because they taught that it's going to come every 28 days because it's been artificially induced by the sun. By the moon. The moon is to block out the Lilith energy. The Lilith energy is the old crone energy that gives the woman under the Lilith energy could control all aspects of herself. She could procreate parthenogenically. She can go through life without a menstrual cycle until she's ready to have a child. The moon is artificially installed in the atmosphere. It replaced a massive meteor that was there that was a part of the earth. They moved that and put the moon there. The moon is not organic. It's not original. It's not natural. It's part of the hologram with the Dark Knight satellite. So it's part of the maintenance of the 3-dimensional framework. Okay.
So let's talk about the reptilian agenda, because I've been getting questions for you about that. So when the reptilian species is being spoken about, is this allegorical, metaphorical, or is it literal? That's the first question that they wanted me to ask you.
Okay, when they're talking about reptilians, it's been exaggerated. The human is a reptile mammal hybrid.
Right.
Right. So we already part reptilian. It's the only thing now is what percentage of reptilian and what will they come out to look like? Some of them really come out. They call the condition ichthyosis.
Right.
When they come out. Yeah. There's reasons for that. Yeah. So
and that enchondroplasia. The enchondroplasia, where the damn fingers are wrapped around by more skin and they stuck together.
Enchondroplasia is dwarfism.
Okay.
That's different.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, but you got another disease like Hirsutism.
Yeah, that's that extra hairy shit.
Yeah.
That's when you grow hair in very strange places, or you see women that got too much testosterone and she growing a full damn beard.
Mm-hmm. That comes from a species of now extinct hominid, or we believe that they extinct, I'll put it that way, called Australorobustus.
Right, I've heard of that.
And then Asia is called Giganthrolopithecus.
Okay, can you break that word down for the viewers, brother?
Giganthrolopithecus means ancient giant human. They average to be 8 feet tall. Their genetics is still in the human genome. It's just that they're not born in their original form in its totality because they've been amalgamated out. A lot of the species that used to exist has been amalgamated out that were different species of hominids.
Okay, so go ahead and finish explaining the reptilians. Like, how has it been exaggerated? Now, we know that the brain has a part in it called the RX factor, right? And I think that that's abbreviated for Rex, symbolic of reptilian. And we understand that humans in the first stages in the mother's womb is in a reptilian state, and then they develop into, Gramardians and all these other different species until they, turn human on the 9th month. But I think that what they're speaking about is the extraterrestrial involvement aspect of reptilians. Like, they want to know, are the reptilians actually physical like humans, looking different like snakes, like the they're seeing?
That's why I brought up ichthyosis. Because you have humans that look like reptiles.
Gotcha.
So it shouldn't be far-fetched that there would be a species of hominid coming from somewhere else that look lizard-like.
Right.
Right? So to us, they would be having the condition ichthyosis, a severe case of ichthyosis.
Okay.
But they come from a place that's normal in their genome.
So it's more genetically normal, basically.
The trait
for that particular species.
Right. The trait has to be a normal trait in order for us to classify them under a certain classification.
Got you.
So you got different beings just look like different types of reptiles and insects. They call insectoids.
So now when we start speaking about the different beings, such as like the Rumardians or the Graves, where do they fit in the scheme of this thing as far as like genetically? Is it that that's been exaggerated also, and there's a way that we can relate to it more as humans, or are they from a specific star constellation and genetically they're just bred that way? What's your overstanding on that?
A lot of those what we call Graves, they in suits. They look like a sign when they take off the suit. But they probably more leaner from space travel causes the muscles to become leaner. So those, a lot of the people that see the big bug-eyed aliens, them helmets, they got on suits. They don't look like that. They look like they straight from motherfucking the sign. Or they look like Elijah Muhammad without the suit.
Gotcha. I see exactly what you're saying. It's more that they have you're not taking a picture of them themselves. It's like taking a picture of an astronaut that has a spacesuit on, basically.
Yeah, exactly that. But by us not knowing what's going on, we have to rationalize in our mind what we see. When we give the description and they draw it, we got this big bug-eyed alien creature that don't look nothing like that, but it look exactly like the spacesuit he wearing.
That makes all the sense in the world too, because you can just give realistic examples of just, fucking NASA. And stuff like that with the space travel.
Not just NASA, not just space travel. The guy that goes to put on the deep sea diving suit.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that part. Yeah.
Imagine you ain't never seen the deep sea diving suit. You on the beach and the motherfucker come out the water with goggles on, the snorkel on.
Hey, we got the brother Rod Hayes in the building. I dropped his Cash App in the comment section. If y'all want to show the brother some love, he gonna drop it. We going all the way in today. Go ahead, brother, finish.
So you on the beach, you ain't never seen nobody in a wetsuit, and they ask you to describe them. You gonna describe damn near a mermaid.
from the foot gear to the way they swimming, that makes sense.
Yep. All that is all like, okay. So the Dogon talk about no more Amo coming out of the water.
That's
they
right.
talk about Ikki and Ainana coming out the water, and they said they had on a fish suit. Remember?
Yep.
The fish suit is for underwater activities. They used to use the skins of dolphins and beluga whales to make underwater suits.
And you know what, bro? When you look at those deep sea divers that be like in those animal theme parks and how that be dealing with like the whales and the dolphins, those black suits resemble exactly what you're saying, as if it came from the skin of a whale.
Mm-hmm. Because that's what they was using, right? And then they was using they can make it airtight. You can make the suit airtight
to the point where it fits your body like skin.
You can either make it fit your body like skin, or you can store air in the suit because it's airtight to take underwater while you're swimming, and you will control your breathing to determine how much farther you got to go underwater.
Right. So let's talk about planet Risk. People want to know if Risk is a hypothetical planet or a literal planet.
Already posted that. NASA already said they found the planet with the 3 suns and all that. I posted that shit last year. They finally admit they discovered Risk. Basically, they just didn't name it that.
Now I know that because I seen a newspaper article on it. I actually seen a newspaper article on it. But these are the questions that the brothers and sisters that's been listening to you want to know, because they kind of heavy into the Dwabu doctrine or protocols or whatever, and they see you as the most knowledgeable right now on the platform. So I said, I'm gonna go ahead and see when the brother got some time, and we're gonna go in.
Hey,
so
look,
now go ahead, bro.
I got a new Wabian brother in Detroit. Got a damn near photographic memory for this shit. That's what I used to study with.
Okay. Is there a lot of Nuwabians out there in Detroit? Because I met some in the feds.
Look, it's undercover Nuwabians everywhere. The ones that don't tell you they Nuwabians, but they work in the office buildings downtown.
Yeah. I know exactly.
Got every Malachi book he ever wrote on their bookshelf. They around. You just don't know who they is because they ain't running around propagating the doctrine openly like that. They passing as functional retarded Americans.
Sometimes that's best, especially when you're dealing with a way of life like ours, because you become a target sometimes, and people still got regular lives that they're trying to lead and fulfill their purpose in a whole different way. So I understand that. So here's another thing. When we start talking about the planet Risk, right, and the space travel of the Riskians and the Anunnaki, who started calling them Riskians as opposed to the Sumerians calling them Anunnaki?
Well, you got to remember in Arabic, they call it razak.
Those who provide.
Razaka is where the root word to risk is.
That's right. It means to provide.
Right. And when you calling them riskians, you just calling them providers. Right. So if it was already in the language, it was already in use. Because to provide, razak becomes the providers, riskians. You know, but look, now we can sit here and have a risky conversation. I don't have no problem with that. We can talk about the land mass, the water, all that shit. But I'm gonna tell you this. This is one of the major distractions for the human. We want to know more about risk than we know about Earth in order for us to be comfortable with understanding that risk is even there.
I agree.
But all of our problems on Earth is Earth problems that we got to fix on Earth. We can't go to risk to fix Earth's problems. So if we want to solve the problem, then we have to deal with what's on Earth and what's in front of us. Don't get caught staring at the sky while a motherfucker in front of you coming to cut you down.
You're right about that, because that is
right.
A distraction.
For a long time, man, I didn't talk about anything extraterrestrial because I believe that we don't even pay attention enough to what's going on Earth to even be concerned with what's happening in the stars.
I don't talk about it, to be honest with you. People don't even know what I know because I just let everybody else speak, because I feel that from my perspective, there's so much that we need to do here. And we always, we do get great leaders, don't get me wrong. But every time something happens with one of our leaders, it seems to knock us back. And then it's like we have to start all over. So to me, extraterrestrial involvement in